Patrick Cook here. So welcome to session 12 of our Mandelbulb3D Epic Rendering tutorial series. In that last episode, I had started this ImageJ onto the process of merging our tiles together. And that's what we have. This finished off. It didn't take long, maybe 4 minutes to do this. This is a 9,000 by 6,000 image, and here is our 16 tiles that have been merged together using the ImageJ and using the plugin that would do a grid column type of merging. Doesn't try any panoramic stuff. It doesn't need any image tile overlap. So here's what we got. Now this is pretty cool. Now just a couple things here to look this thing over. If we look up in here, we see that this image is 1.4 gigabytes. It's an 8-bit image. We can do something about that. Okay, we could make this a 24 or 16-bit image. And we see here that it is showing us a 1/3 view. All right, I can't expand this display without going over the area that my screen capture is able to see. But we're going to save this and we're going to look at it differently. Now, what's interesting about this image here is that I have a lot of pixels to work with. So one of the use cases for rendering out at a higher resolution, even if you don't need the high resolution. Oh look, even if I wasn't going to go do a 30 by 20 inch printout here, what this process has done is it has given me a higher resolution image that will receive color correction, sharpening, cropping, and other quality manipulation things that I would apply to this image. It handles it better. And that is probably the most important and the most frequent need for rendering out a high-resolution graphic. You have more leeway in applying quality adjustments, color adjustments, gamma, the exposure curve, cropping, resizing. Okay, it's if I have a larger high-resolution image, it's better if I wanted to resize it downward than if I had a low resolution and tried to upscale it. Okay, so having a higher resolution image gives you more leeway, more forgiveness in when you go and adjust the colors or the gamma or the curves or the exposure or whatever you want to do. Now let's save this. All right, so I should be able to, I right-clicked and I'm going to go to Control Panel. This is a little bit weird. This is really not kind of conventional, but it is what it is, and it's free. All right, I'm going to save this as, I'm going to save it only for this demonstration. I'm going to save it as a PNG. Now, if I was really focused on quality, I would save it off as an uncompressed TIFF. All right. It's not an AVI because it's that's a video motion. This is a still. But for purposes of this demo, I'm going to save it as a PNG. So I'm going to click PNG. I'm going to double click PNG, and I'm just going to save it up in my documents. And here we go, Epic Rendering. I'm going to put it right here. I'm just going to call it Fused Demo. I mean, I'd be a little bit more specific than that. Now, I'm going to save this. Now, this is going to take a couple minutes, actually. I should see it right there. All right. There it is. Okay, there it is. It's coming in. It's being written right now. It's not done because the thing is big. All right, so we're just going to give that time to do its thing. Now, in the meanwhile, this ImageJ version 2 is a very good merger for the purposes of the Mandelbulb 3D tile rendering process. There are others out there, I assume, but when you go looking for an alternative, if you don't like this one, when you go looking for an alternative, what you've got to be careful of is the requirement of the overlapping tiles and the software's tenacity to fix the parallax issue. Typically, you don't want something that is referred to as a panoramic stitcher. You don't want that. And you're going to find that in Photoshop and GIMP, and Huggin has it, and Canon, Nikon, they all have it. All right, but those aren't going to work for you. This works, and it doesn't cost anything. I like free software. I don't know if it's done or not. There doesn't seem to be any information that tells you that it's done fusing, but if I double click on it, okay, there it is. Okay, so this is my final fused. Now I can zoom it in, okay. This is my final fused 16 tiles from Mandelbulb. Let's see if we can do other things. Let's look at the size here. Go over to properties, details. Okay, here we go. All right, it's 27,000 in width and 18,000 in height. Wow. All right. That's more than we need for our 30 by 60, but oh, it's also 24-bit depth. That's pretty cool. Okay, very good. So this ImageJ produced a nice high resolution. I don't necessarily need 20,000, but I've got enough here to work with where I can go in here and I can make all kinds of adjustments. Okay? So that is a quick demo of the full process. Let me just clean up my screen a little bit here for you so we can see what we're talking about. I don't need that anymore. We'll just lower that. I don't need this anymore. Okay. Yeah, we don't need this. This is the ImageJ. I'm going to leave my final shot right here. Okay. So what we did in the last couple sessions, we've essentially, if you want to quit this tutorial series now, you probably would be okay, and you know how to do this. We have a lot more to do. I actually want to go in and create a real nice Mandelbulb graphic at a much higher resolution than this. Tile it out, stitch it back together again, and give myself something that I can actually submit to a printer to get a dazzling print on my wall. All right. Now you look at this picture here, and the gamma is all off. It's too dark. This thing needs some work. All right, but I have the resolution now to do the work. So what we've done the last couple sessions is we had a graphic that we then tiled, all right, and that outputted it. And then we used the ImageJ, what's called Grid Column Merger plugin, to give us a final output, which has given us a high resolution image that we can now adjust, crop, change the brightness, change the exposure, work on the coloring a little bit, maybe draw out the colors a little bit more. And we now have enough pixels where we can safely downsize it or scale it down for the ultimate purpose that we want, either to display on the screen or to send off to a printer or to put into a video, a high definition or even a 4K video. It's got the resolution to handle that. That's the key. The key to all of this is that we have the ability to not only make some really cool Mandelbulb graphics, but we have the ability to get them rendered out with native pixels, not interpolating after the fact with another piece of software, native pixels that can be rendered out using the tiling method, and then remerge them back together again to give us this perfect reassembly of all of these tiles. I mean, if we look at this, look how far in I can zoom before I start to get lost on the quality. My goodness, look at this. That is amazing. Now I'm starting to get some loss of quality here. But my goodness, is this even telling me? Yeah, here we're at 146% that I'm zooming in. Now, if we just look around here, you don't see any evidence of any tile separations. That's how good that this ImageJ did our stitching or our merging. That is amazing. Now, I can do a lot with this picture. I can do a lot with this because I've got the resolution there to be able to work with. So that is the fun of the Mandelbulb Big Rendering tool. All right. Now, like I said before, if you want to quit this this tutorial series right now, you have enough to be able to go and do this on your own. But if you'd like to stick with me, I'm going to continue on, because what I want to do is I want to go back and I want to make a nice Mandelbulb image, and I want to get a high resolution tiled out and then restitched back together, and then we're even going to play around with the quality adjustments. We'll play around with color and all kinds of good stuff. So we got a lot to do yet. Okay? All right, so that's we're way over time on this session, but I think it was worth it. I hope you do too. And I hope to see you in the next session, session 13. That's going to be our lucky session. So I'll see you in the next session, number 13, when you're ready. I'll see you there.